Basic Kanji Book Volume 1. And here, once again, is the ISBN number for it, if you guys would like to pick one up. I did buy mine used. Okay, let's get to the front. So here is just the starting page. Hajime ni. And it just has the introduction, and it's in English as well. It just kind of gives you, the information on how to use the book, but it's pretty simple. Let's see, and then mokuji. So daika. Okay. Daika. So this is kara dekita kanji. Is picture karas from deki to come out. Dekita to come out. Kanji. So then it kind of goes into explanations, and it gives you kind of like the picture graphs of the kanji. Not all kanji are set up like this, but a lot of them are. They're just pictures of the item that they're describing. Listen to writing kanji. Stroke order is pretty important. You want to make sure that each line is the correct length. Each line's the correct length. And so here is the part that I didn't do. It was, like I said, it's a used book. So they have area for you to write down all your kanji. And they give you the kanji, the imi, which is the meaning. Kunomi is the Japanese pronunciation. Onomi is the Chinese pronunciation. And then kakusu is the strokes. How many strokes are in it? They break it down for you, and then they have you write it. So they do that for all the kanji. They give you a good amount. I think they said there's 500 kanji in each book. And then they give you reading, yomi renshu, and then you practice by writing the hiragana below the kanji, and then you do the readings here. You're just writing hiragana where there's kanji. So there's some examples. So sentences are pretty small in the beginning. And then here's that picture again. Just put the kanji in the correct spot. More practice, and then they give you the word and you write the kanji. And they do this for every chapter. Every chapter is pretty much the same. So then you have kakirenshu. And now we're on dainika. So kanji no hanashi. And then we have more kanji from pictures. E kara dekita kanji. And they give you nice little information tidbits in each chapter, and it continues through the whole book. And then kanji no kakikata. So it means kanji. Kakikata means way of writing. And then they give you the kanji for you to write. Practice writing, and I really love the jukugo that they give you. So after the writing practice, of course we have the reading, yomi renshu, and then kakirenshu. Here's that picture again. And they give you the images they kind of represent. So they give you a way to memorize them. And then, okay, writing more kanji. And then in some of these chapters, karenda and shiteimasu ka? Dekimasu ka? Shiteimasu ka? Do you know these words? Or do you know this? Dekimasu ka? Can you do them? 2月12日は何曜日ですか? So then I pretty much just did it for the year of 2014, which is when I first started working on this book. And I looked up the dates on all of them and wrote down the day of the week. The second month, 21st day, what day of the week is it? Pretty much. Anyway, 第3課. So you have the words. I'm doing numbers this time. And then 読み練習. Just writing out the numbers and hiragana. So it looks like such a mess. You see, this is why we use kanji, because if we used hiragana and katakana for everything, then this is what our mess would look like. This is what the language would look like. All that red. It just doesn't work. So I guess they give you the numbers here, and then you go in and write it. It looks like it was. Yeah. していますか? できますか? So they give you a whole bunch of food, 食べ物, and then they ask for how much it is. リンゴは一ついくらですか? みかんは一ついくらですか? It's just how much one is in all of them. And then you see like different counters for banana here. Banana wa ippon, right? Yeah. For banana, banana wa ippon ikura desu ka? It's because when you have different items, you get different counters. And banana is a cylinder item, so it goes under that counter. Counters are kind of confusing, but if you don't know it, you can just use the generic. And then we have Dayonka. So these are pretty simple kanji right now. And then they give you, I like it because as it goes on, they're going to give you a lot more practice and writing. And that's really what I wanted, especially in the beginning when I was just learning hiragana. This is really, really good practice for those learning hiragana or don't know where to start with kanji. They pick out pretty basic kanji. It's like first, second, third grade kanji. They just kind of pick them at random, probably which ones use the most. And then they throw it in this book for you. So, I mean, you do obviously learn useful kanji. You learn useful phrases. Eventually, you're going to learn verbs. So, what's this one? Daigoka. Here's the fifth one. So, it pretty much is about the same thing over and over again. Except for the ending page. Oh, here's Fukushu. Fukushu is just review of lesson 1 through 5. So, it's all the kanji that you've learned through lesson 1 through 5. And then they have a story. I think they start the stories. They give you a story and they help you with vocabulary there. And then they give you questions. Shitsumon. And then here's some more kanji by pictures. Practice writing. And then I try to write words that I know in kanji as well, just because I'm trying to recognize the kanji. It gives you practice writing them too, so you might see random kanji written places. And then here's some names. Business card. Write your own business card. So there's this, some more, let's see, some more reading exercises, writing exercises, And then, do you know these words? So they give you the kanji up here. And then they have you label them, pretty much. Keiyoshi no kanji. So this one is for adjectives. So then you start learning some adjectives, and they're pretty simple adjectives. You'll learn these in any grammar book, any textbook that you're working on. You'll learn these adjectives. So they give you some adjectives, what they mean, pronunciations, some example words, and then practice. Practice reading. My horrible writing, and we have a game. Yay. But yeah, I can't remember. They had one game where you had to cut out something, and I'm not cutting out anything out of these books. Oh, it's memory. They give you it right here. How to play game 1 or game A and game B. Shinkei sui jaku. Memory, and that's probably the kanji for it. Sometimes I usually write the kanji just so I can see it, even if a lot of times it's just usually read as kana only. There are a lot of words like that where they do have kanji, but they're usually written as kana. I usually write the kanji anyway, just so that I've seen it, have experience writing it. It's good practice. And then doshi no kanji, doshi. So verbs. Let's see, and here's the list. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, kanji. And then practice writing, reading. I started this book quite a few years ago. Another game. I wish I dated it so I could see exactly when I started it, but I didn't. Toki no kanji. Toki no kanji. So now we're gonna have kanji that has to deal with time. As the book progresses, you see more and more kanji. And there is no romanji in this book. So that's one reason why I really liked it. Oh, fukushu! Here's some review of lessons 6 through 10. And we got practice. Oh, and be aware, some of these might be wrong. They don't give you an answer key for any of the questions. So, I don't have a teacher. This is usually used along with a textbook Genki, at least in my school. I haven't taken the class, but I've looked up the books for... I've looked up the books for the classes in Japanese, and they use this book. They use Genki, and then they use a hiragana katakana book, but I don't have it because I had already learned those by the time I had looked up the class. The only issue is that it runs at the same time as my work schedule does, so I'd be paying a lot of money and not be able to go to classes. So I'm still looking for classes so I can have the speaking practice that I really want. And cool, we have another reader. You just read the little story. They give you some extra vocabulary, and then I think it told you what to do. Yeah, read the following passage and guess who is in the picture below. So they tell you kind of where the position of the people are, and then you write their name. And then game using radicals. I bet this is, let's see, Bushu game. Okay, and then we have Bushu Kanji Muriashi. Oh, Bushu. Kamuri Ashi. Radicals top to bottom. Oh, okay. Kamuri Ashi. So then they show you just a couple chapters in radicals. I think there's another one coming up. Give you practice here. Hagaki. Questions. And then what is this? Bushu game. Another radical game. These are pretty cool. I wish there was a book full of just these. It helps you remember what the kanji look like. Helps you memorize the parts of kanjis. So it's pretty cool. And then we have another radical one. So there's tare kamae. Let me give you some kanji as examples. Writing practice. All the practice you need. And then here's another. Read the passage. Here's some vocabulary that's in the passage. And then answer the questions. So those are pretty cool. I like those. Mise no namae. So, give you those. And then more radicals. So we have Nyo, lower left. Oh, and here is Tenki Yoho. Tenki Yoho. So I give you Ningen kankei no kanji. Make your little family trees. Cool. And then I have the honorific system right there for how you call your family and what you call people from other families. A lot more polite than your own. Which is pretty normal here too. Fukushu. Lesson 11 through 15. Ika kara 15かまでの漢字部首リスト。形容詞の漢字。More adjectives. I think the other one was e-adjectives, and these ones are non-adjectives. So you do have to have some knowledge of grammar before using this book, because they do kind of go over grammar, and they don't show you how to conjugate it. So make sure that you do know some background grammar. Otherwise, you won't be able to do like the writing work that they have in some of these, or you won't understand some of the other. 病院で in hospital. So cool. So kanji that have movement. Watashi no daigaku. Roro hyoshiki. So these are kind of cool. Meaning position kanji. So they do have a method and a they are organized, the kanji that you learn. They may not be by they're not like N5 kanji or N4. They're not character, or they're not I keep want to say filed. They're not put in order by the JLPT or even the grade kanji, the class kanji like I do. They're kanji that just relate to each other. And here was a fun game. I wish they had more of these. I like the little games and stuff that they give you because they make you think in a different way. The different questions that they give you. I love the ones with charts. I can do that visually. Like, visual questions are a lot easier than written ones. Like that. For me, I was never good at word problems. Setsuji no kanji. This one says settoji, just says go, and setsubishi. I love that they have furigana. They do have furigana, by the way, in here on most of the words, but once you get up higher, a lot of the first words that you started to learn, they no longer have furigana. Here, this is when actually I started to learn Torofuken, but this is the districts and the prefectures of Japan. So there they all are. And I forget I had it. But I really, really liked this book. It gives you a lot of writing practice. And that's what I really wanted. Lots of writing practice. They do give you some word problems at the end of each chapter. And they're different too. So, sometimes you get like the little stories, sometimes you'll get games, sometimes you'll get the chart ones or a crossword puzzle. And here's another game. Oh, this is 20 questions. Game 20の質問. So it just tells you how to play 20 questions. So, I mean, that one, obviously you need a partner to do that. Block construction. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I've already started on the second book. Not that far in it yet, but it pretty much is the exact same thing as this one. This one ends on lesson 22. Is that right? Yep. It's probably Dai Nijunika. This is the last lesson. So the 22nd. And then the second book starts on lesson 23. And you really don't need a dictionary to work on it, because the information that you need is right at the beginning of the chapter. So this book is good for if you're just going out and you don't want to carry like your dictionary. Like I said, you don't want to get your phone out to look up words, and this is a good book for you. But it does have questions in there. There's no answer key, so keep that in mind. It's usually used in a class setting, so that's why there's no answer key. But that's okay, because there wasn't that many questions that required an answer key. A lot of them were in the passage that I just read, and I just had to, if I couldn't find it, I just reread the story until I found the answer. So, but like I said, you do have to know some basic grammar, because the story passages, you're going to have to know the grammar. And you do have to know hiragana. You have to know some katakana. There isn't much katakana in here, but there is some. And I mean, that's pretty much it. You don't have to know any kanji at all, because they do give you furigana. This could be a really good starter kanji book, but you do have to know basic grammar and hiragana, katakana before you start this book. But trust me, it'll give you a lot of practice. It's well worth it. And stroke order for kanji is very important. So, and memorizing each part of the kanji, because forgetting one line or one dot is, you completely change the kanji, the word itself. And people won't be able to read what you write. Here are the reviews for the basic kanji book. It's got pretty good reviews. Let's read some of the bad ones. So this one says, primitive, not much value. I could see how this book could be used in a course if the teacher can review and correct your answers. It contains a variety of exercises which, while they don't really amount to much, could give teachers the impression that their students are doing something useful and making progress. But since there's no answer key, it's not really appropriate for independent study. The book makes a half-hearted attempt to systemize kanji study. While it's better than studying kanji at random, it is far from an adequate system. They picked out 500 kanji that fit certain objectives they had, which they describe in pages. Those pages. The ones in the very front. But from a user perspective, they don't learn. But from a user perspective, you don't learn the kanji in a logical order. Of course, you don't realize this until you've already gotten well into the book. I would say the book does not succeed at making an efficient way to study kanji. The book is good for an overview about kanji, but there are many resources for that, starting with Wikipedia. Much of the book is blank squares for writing the kanji, like any cheap block pad you can get at a stationery store. I prefer to have a smaller, cheaper book and then practice writing on a cheap notebook, paper that I can throw away. If they hadn't used so much space for the blank squares, they could have included more kanji. As it is, this book covers less than a quarter of the Joyo kanji. So yeah, I can see where they're coming from in that. I actually really enjoy practice writing. Great execution, but tragically flawed. Yes, this book is a completely useful approach to teaching kanji, as other reviews have noted, but I don't need to talk about that anymore. But this book is unforgivably flawed for one important reason. There are no answers to the exercises. Forget about self-study then. Imagine that if you're like me, you want to check all your exercises in order to make sure you're doing things correctly. With no answer key though, you have to grade yourself. But how can you grade yourself when you don't know the correct answers? You're studying to learn the answers. It makes no sense. I know I can just ask one of my friends or a teacher, I live in Japan, to take a look at my work, but that defeats the purpose of self-study. I want to go at my own pace without having to wait for another person, and on top of that, even if they're Japanese, sometimes they might not know the right answers either. I emailed the publishers and they indeed confirmed that there are no answer keys available. Sigh. And poorly described by seller. Said there was no writing, arrived with writing. So let's see what 3 stars. So there's 3 reviews and the 2 stars. This one is 3. Pretty good, but not as well thought out as Genki. A good book as far as quality and ease of writing. However, the organization and order of the kanji is weird to me. I far prefer the Genki books. Okay. And the 4 stars. Step-by-step guide. It's a trace book. It does its purpose. Kanji examples are good. However, you may want to ask if you want to purchase the book or pay for the Skritter app. I don't know that one. Great book, a little dated. Definitely a good academic approach to learning kanji. Good, but it takes dedication. If you have some Japanese vocabulary, basic knowledge of Japanese sentence structure, and have learned kana, this book will work. I wouldn't recommend it for the absolute beginner, however. It is effective and engaging, but you must be very self-motivated as well. I bought and got through this last year and feel that I really made progress. Nigatsu? I can't remember. Nigatsu de Juni Nichi wa Nan Yobi. Desu ka? Oh, sorry. I was like, what is this? So it's either... It is wrong. I did this wrong.